in a moment I'm going to demonstrate a recovery from a situation where you're trying to hit glide lock and you stop the wings. If the model is upright, you stop the wings down here, or they stop for whatever reason. If it stops in this angle, the model will dip and start a spiral in, and I've dubbed it the death spiral. You can recover from that, which you'll see in here in just a moment, because I'm going to go ahead and fly, and I'm going to attempt to put the bird into the death spiral, and then I'll recover. The way you recover is simply let go of all controls and go to full power, and just wait, because the model will recover. It will start flapping. It will come out of the dive, the spiral, and you'll be able to take over and control flight and continue on. So the only thing you have to be is up high, not real high. You'll see how quick it is to recover, and like I say, I'll do it multiple times so that the first time won't be just a fluke or a lucky shot. I'll at least duplicate it twice. Either way, my point is this model will recover from that if you use the motor speed controller that I'm recommended, or that I'm using on the model. Now, I have used different speed controllers. Some speed controllers work, some speed controllers work okay, some speed controllers don't work at all. So use what I recommend. So we're going to climb up, get a little altitude, and yes, I am shooting the video and going to do the piloting. So I'm playing double duty. So now we've gotten up some altitude. I'm going to turn downwind here a little bit, and we're going to lower the power, and let's see if I can. Nope, there we go. We're death spiraling for sure, right? Okay, there's how quick we can recover. So we'll go up and do that again. Just so we know it wasn't a fluke thing. Notice it took me a little bit to get it into that. So we will go up again. And now we will go ahead and show her the power. Okay, we hit glide, there we go. Now we're death spiraling, and we power up and come out. I used a keychain camera on board the Thunderbird and captured this video. Now what's really interesting about this video is the sound after the model starts to glide. There's an issue with the video in Movie Maker, so I'm having to play the video in a player and then re-record the video using my HD camera. So I apologize for the grainy image, but that's why I have it. There's going to be about 3 seconds of flapping, and then you'll hear it go into glide lock, and at that point you're going to hear what sounds like a bird calling out. So this was really interesting, and I assure you this was not edited in any form or fashion. with the same results with a landing at the end. This video is interesting because you can hear the gear train back in the glide lock. And the way you do that is, of course, you're climbing, so you're near full power, 3/4 power, whatever you're using to climb. And then whenever you want to go into glide lock, you actually start slowing down the power to the point where your flap rate is pretty slow, and then you stop it. And the reason that you slow the flap rate down is to get the inertia out of the flapping motion, so that whenever you cut the power, the wings do not continue to flap a lot. So just take a listen, and again, this is just a short glide. This video is a little grainy, but you can hear the power being lowered and the gear train dropping into the first glide lock and then being advanced into the second glide lock. There is a single, which is this one, and then a dual, which is the second one here. And you can tell the difference. This has one large slot in it, as where this one has two smaller slots. So if you want just a single glide, you can use this one. And if you want the ultimate glide with a glide in between, then you would use the second one. This is the one that I've been using because it does have the second glide that gives you the ultimate glide, and that's the one you've been seeing the long glides with. To give you some info on how it works, keep in mind that this rod is attached to the gear, and as the gear rotates, of course, this rod moves up and down. So the idea is, as the rod moves up and down and this gear turns, as long as we don't go beyond bottom dead center, then when we come back up, we'll be on the front side. In other words, if we look at this frame here, as long as this pivot point, which would be here, as long as that doesn't go past bottom dead center, then whenever you stopped and the weight of the model brought the gear back up, it would come up on this side, on the front side. However, if we go past bottom dead center, which would be here, then when it came back up, it would come up on this side. Now, if you miss glide lock, then that's what's going to have happened. You actually flapped too quickly, and it actually traveled past bottom dead center and came up on the back side, which is not really a problem, because then what you can do, at that point you would be in pigeon, so the arms would be all the way up, and you would just give it a little bit of power, and as the arms came down, then you would stop, and of course it would try to go back up, and if it hit glide lock, then it would not be allowed to do that. If we take one, this is the single, so I'm just going to set it on this little mock-up here so you can see how it works. Notice that as long as this gear is rotating, the glide lock lifts up and then lowers back down. Now, if I go backwards, after I pass the glide lock, see, now I could go backwards or stop flapping, and whenever the wings went up, it would back up, but it would not be allowed to go all the way up. So therefore, the distance that this notch is from this pin dictates how much glide you have, or how much of an angle you have, or how much dihedral you have. So notice that this one here is set where this pin and this lines up with about the edge of this bolt here, or this screw. So that gives you the angle. Now if we take off this one and we put on the dual, remember before, this and this bolt and this lined up, so that means it was up higher, or the arms would be up higher. Well, notice now that it's actually lower when we go into glide, because see, I'm hitting glide, and that's grabbing this stop, and it's not letting it back up, and that's what makes the glide work. Now, how do you hit the second one? Well, whenever you go around, if you come back and go past top dead center, as soon as you hit the first one and not hit the second one, if you stopped right there, it would automatically lock into that first glide, which would be like doing this. So you go around, you come down, and now it's hit that first one, which is a moderate glide. Okay, now if you go on around, so if we move this on around, now we go to back up, we hit the second one, and therefore again it's brought it on around. So if we let this come around, but remember, we don't let this go past bottom dead center, because as soon as we do, it's going to go back up on the other side. So we want to go down just enough and then come back, and now we've hit the other glide. You can hear it's a solid lock. So go around, first glide, second glide. I'll do it again. I'll go around, first glide, second glide. So you can see it's locking in there. So again, first glide right there, second glide. So if you want to start, you can just use this one. You will get both. You can use the single, and then as you get more familiar and more comfortable flying, then you can go ahead and use the double. This all sits behind that. So, and this is actually on the back side of the gear. I've only done this mock-up so I could bring it out front here where you could see it. But that's how it works, and you can see that it would definitely, whenever it locks, it's a good solid lock. So I don't anticipate anybody ever having any trouble with the glide locks.